Hi everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Bill Cosby once said, men and women belong to different species, and communications between them is still at its infancy. I can definitely agree with this. Communication can be quite difficult and complicated. The difference is, in men and women communication is not all that complicated, but may seem that way. Women talk more about feelings and what they are thinking. Men want to talk more about ideas they may have and factual things. Women are more emotional, which means they need someone to listen as well as someone to talk to. But sometimes listening really is all they need. However, women have a hard time expressing that sometimes. Men are more analytical. They assume they need to fix things. They assume when someone comes to them with a problem, they need to fix it. However, that person may just need someone to listen without input. It's like there's a switch in their brain already forming a solution when someone speaks. Men need a clear understanding that all the other person wants is to listen. This can be a big issue between men and women communication. If men don't know that a woman just needs them to listen, and women don't realize they need to be clear about this, there could be serious issues. The reasons for communication differ between men and women. For men, it is a way to negotiate power, give advice, and obtain victories. For women, reasons for communicating are to grow relationships, find common ground, and to find understanding. This definitely will prove that women are more emotional. When someone is talking or listening, they are using body language whether they mean to or not. Body language can be an essential part of communication. Some evidence will show that we prioritize nonverbal communication over verbal communication. Women's body language looks more open. They have more facial expressions and use more gestures. Tend to keep to themselves more and come across stern. Men use quite less body language than women. They also have guarded gestures, such as their arms crossed. Did you know that people have a certain preference as to what it looks like when they are communicating? And by this I mean their positioning and their surrounding. Women prefer to be sitting in a group. They also want to be face to face. If you can imagine a group of women having lunch around a circular table, this is how they prefer to communicate. It is most comfortable for them. Men prefer standing in an angled pattern. They also prefer to be shoulder to shoulder. Picture two men standing side by side with a beer in their hand, staring out into a room full of people. This is how men prefer to communicate. There are several stereotypes out there about men and women. Some stereotypes include men negotiating is a weakness, and men must be dominant and aggressive. Women must be submissive, and women are not as strong as men. Now, we all know that negotiating is not a weakness. Men do not have to be dominant and aggressive. Women do not have to be submissive. And men are not stronger than women. By strong, I mean mentally and emotionally. Unfortunately, these stereotypes put pressure on men and women. And because of that pressure, men and women say and do things they don't mean. Men and women also use punctuation differently. Women use affirmative noises such as uh-huh or okay, while men prefer to sit quietly. To men, affirmative noises are interruptions. To help men and women communicate, and everyone else for that matter, here are some ways to sharpen communication skills. One is not to judge the other person. How will you communicate properly if you have already made up your mind about them? Two is pay attention. Put your phone away or anything else that is distracting. Three is technical language. Try not to use words or phrases other people normally don't know. 4, if the person is not looking for an opinion or your advice, don't give it. 5, be considerate of others' feelings. 6, be aware of your nonverbal communication. If someone is speaking, you should be looking at them. And 7, ask questions. This shows you're interested and they're paying attention. 8, be clear about what you need and want from the other person. 9, when someone is done speaking, try to summarize and clarify. These are just some ways to help you communicate. Men and women may have different styles of communication, but with a little extra effort, you can communicate effectively. I will now leave you with a quote from John Powell. Communication works for those who work at it. Thank you for your participation and have a great day.